Hey everybody, Dr. Vardy here, and in this short video, I am going to quickly go over the community storytelling project that we are getting started on in the next couple of weeks. Really, our kickoff is our first synchronous Zoom meeting, which, as you see in the announcement, is this Thursday from 4:30 to 6 p.m. I'll talk a little bit about that as we get into describing the project. So let's get to it. Let me share my screen with you. Okay, so the community storytelling project is really it's going to take us the rest of the semester basically to complete this project. As you know, the first major project in the course is the creative writing portfolio, which you guys have been working towards as you've been drafting your creative responses and thoughtfully revising them, as I encouraged you in last week's video. So this project is going to be a little bit different because, as we know, Rita Charon's tenets of representation, affiliation, and I missed attention. Attention, representation, and affiliation are the pillars on which narrative medicine as a subdiscipline stand. And attention, we've been practicing that and we'll continue to practice cultivating our attention through close and rhetorical reading of lots of different things throughout the rest of the semester. We will continue to work on representation, though the real place where we're trying to focus on the craft of representing stories and people's stories, particularly, are in those creative writing pieces that we're putting together for the portfolio. The third tenet of affiliation, as we saw in Charon and in other places, it really requires a dialogic paradigm. It's between two people, two or more people. Affiliation is that awareness and knowing and empathetic response to another person, and then representing it back to them in a way that they can take up and say, yes, that is what I meant. Now, we can practice all the steps that are involved in attention, representation, and affiliation, but really, until we can practice all of those steps together, I don't think we get a full understanding of how narrative medicine is so powerful for a caregiving context, especially for patients or folks who are needing care. So all of these things feed into this project, the community storytelling project. This is really where the rubber meets the road for you guys, because this is where I want you to actually get out into the community and practice the tenets of narrative medicine that you've been learning about. So we're in a transition couple of weeks. We're going to introduce the project this week and kind of kick it off in our Zoom meeting this Thursday. And we're going to be reading up on some of the methodologies that we're going to employ. And then over the next week, as you're finishing your creative writing portfolio, you're going to be thinking about your proposal and drafting your proposal for this project. So, what are you going to propose? Well, since we talked about the purpose already, I won't belabor that. Basically, what you're doing is you're going to be getting out into a community setting. You're going to be observing, taking detailed participant notes. You're going to be actually engaging community members in extended interview, listening to them tell their stories. And you're going to be developing a genre or a set of genres that represents the stories that you're observing and listening to. So here's what that actually looks like. We've got stuff for you to do and stuff for you to write as we go along through this project. So basically on our October 3rd Zoom, This is where some of our community partners, the organizers of some of the programs that we have available to us for you to engage in, those folks have graciously agreed to meet us on Zoom so that they can tell you about the work that they do and introduce what you might possibly be getting into with their community and their goals. So we do have a representative from the med school here at Wayne State, Dr. Eleanor King, and she's going to be talking about some community work that she directs and that she's graciously allowing us to participate in as observers and listeners and story capturers. Um, She'll talk about that. Dr. Jared Grogan will be with us from Techtown, Detroit, and introduce us to the Watt Company and some of the work that they're doing on disability narratives and care narratives to develop their products for handicapped folks. There might be community opportunities that you are already aware of, but these opportunities, we need to talk about them. So when you hear the community partner directors talk about the work that they're doing, I want you to be thinking along those lines so that if you have something in mind from your own experience, it could be from your faith community, a volunteer group that you're a part of. It even could be related to your job if you have a job that involves care or healthcare or patient caregiver relationships. Could be a family situation. Any of those things would work, but we want it to be within the realm of healthcare, medical attention, even if it's caregiving for someone who maybe receives their healthcare from a primary provider. That's the idea of what we're trying to get at, because we are learning about all these narrative strategies in the medical context. So if you have a community of your own that you'd like to pitch to me, just shoot me an email and we can talk about it via email, or we can set up a Zoom time where you can talk to me. So that's the first step, is thinking about the community wherein you want to do observations and gather stories from folks who are a part of that community through interview, through observation. Those are really our two main methods that we're working with here. The second step is to develop a reading base. So this is kind of a classic literature review situation, but I really want you to think carefully about how you could pull together a persuasive literature grouping of sources that can support what you want to do in the community that you're choosing. Do you want to have people tell stories of caregiving? Do you want to have people tell stories that are more contextual or that get at intersexual identity, or that what is your purpose? What kinds of stories are you trying to get after? And how does that connect with our purposes in this narrative medicine context? So you can see here the 8 articles that I'm asking for, these are going to go into your proposal. And that is the first thing that you need to write for this project. I'm asking for a 3 to 4 page proposal. It could be longer, but what I want here is the working bibliography, your readings. I need you to identify the community partner and your rationale. What is your purpose? Why do you want to work with this community? Then you'll outline your qualitative research methods. And if you're sitting here going, what now? Don't worry. We're going to be reading about some of the research methods that are available to you this week. So think about, how are you going to meet with community members? How are you going to gather your data, your notes, your interview transcriptions, whatever it is that you're gathering as data? And then this is really important. How will you share what you write up from this experience with the community? How will you share it back to them? So you can do almost anything here when it comes to the genres or the storytelling artifacts that I'd like you to write. It can be a collection of creative genres that either you completely draft on your own or that you collaboratively draft with your participants. These could be memoirs, character profiles. It could be an epistolary piece where you write letters back and forth. You can draft a narrative of illness or caregiving. So this could be either a snapshot or sort of a more holistic picture of a journey, a health journey. You can think about visual or material storytelling. So videos, visual pieces, zines, poetry collections. There's a lot of things that can be either handmade, printed out. You can think about digital publications. Think about visual. Oh no, I already said that. Multimodal storytelling. So this can get into things like videos. You might want to talk to your community to see what they need. I know that Watt is interested in copy for their website. So that might be something that you can think about brainstorming with your community members. So all of that's due in the next 2 weeks, basically. So that's getting yourself situated, choosing a community, getting yourself ready, writing up the proposal. That's step one, basically. The next steps are going to be actually going to the community site, talking with your community participants, observing, taking notes, basically doing the data gathering. So this could be ethnographic style notes that you're collecting. You might be doing some kind of like quality analysis about an environment or a process that participants are engaged in. Your job in this second section is to listen attentively. So practicing that attention, but then also taking really good notes or getting transcripts that are quite accurate so that your representation is also accurate. Then the final piece of the puzzle is to actually draft and share your storytelling artifacts. So that could be, again, a video or a series of videos that you put together. This could be something that's a written genre. Then we're going to present our findings to the class and maybe even community partners if we can get folks to our Zoom on the 5th of December. So all of this will come together. You're going to add another reflection video, and that's going to go in your final portfolio at the very end of the semester. So you can see here, there's different types of work that I'm asking you to do: process work, portfolio work, putting everything together, and then presenting at that final Zoom session. That's going to be part of the grade. You can see the due dates here. Basically from middle of October onward, this is the main thing that we're working on. We're also still going to have reading discussions and your reflective journals, of course, but this is going to be the big project we're working towards. And you can see the grading breakdown here. How I'm thinking about the points indicates the weight that I'm giving to each part of this project. All right. So that's our community storytelling project. Of course, this is going to be even more brought to life when we get together on Thursday for our synchronous Zoom session. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.